Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our first speaker, an old friend of mine actually, who is one of the co-founders, who's sitting next to his other co-founder of Cantaloupe Systems, Anant Agrawal.
My name is Anant, and I'm a first-time entrepreneur, co-founder of Cantaloupe Systems. Like Tam mentioned, Mandeep, my co-founder, is here as well. And when Tam came to me, I don't know, a month ago, and was talking about trust, and she came back from London, and she was all excited, I had no idea what she was talking about. I think you kind of take trust for granted. You have your team members, your family, all that stuff, and she got me thinking, and we had a dinner, and we talked about it some more, and I've been thinking that a lot of it is based on trust. A lot of it's just gut instinct to a certain degree, or a lot of it's based on experience and different things. So I was trying to figure out, you know, how do I talk about something interesting related to that? And so I thought I'd talk about my company. And, you know, it's a struggle as a startup company, being an entrepreneur. But then as an entrepreneur, you know, you're going to have a little bit of ego. It's your baby. You want to make it grow and do its own thing, but you also want it to be its own organization, its own organism. And the whole concept of trust is, you know, Mandeep and I have been working for 8 years, basically selling people to trust us. But that can't scale, right? And so long term, how do you continue to feed your organization so that the transition of trust goes away from you as the entrepreneur to the company itself? And so that's what I'll be talking about today. So two aspects of this. So I'll talk about day one of Cantaloupe Systems, that's their company name. And just a little bit of background. What we essentially do is connect vending machines to the internet. And then companies that operate vending machines, we tell them which machines to go service every day, what product to take, how much money's coming back, if it breaks down, why it broke down. If you go to San Francisco airport, all the machines there have our system on there. You can use your credit card on there now. So that's the concept of what we had started. And, you know, when Mandeep and I talked about the idea 8 years ago, the left side of the stuff made a whole lot of sense, right? 6 million machines. There's a great TAM out there, TAM, that makes sense that we'd want to do a business in. We had an in, you know, I think this is very important for anyone looking to start a company. It's like some kind of angle that no one else has. Mandeep's family is from the vending industry, so we had a lot of early insight and a lot of knowledge there. The value proposition itself, we were in college in 2002, and it was all about the internet, and it was all about wireless technologies. And you put it to anything, any business model out there, and you're going to drive efficiencies. So we understood the value proposition, and at the end of the day, we were smart and hungry. Everyone was doing startups. Everyone was making lots of money in IPOs. We wanted a piece of the action too. So it made sense to start a business, but it's, you know, there's a lot of really good ideas out there, right? I get a lot of ideas pitched all the time, and at the end of the day, it's the stuff on the right side that's going to get the company started. And for me, it was these 4 major things. First one is I found Mandeep in college. I trusted my partner. Why did I trust my partner? By chance, we ended up taking a trip to India for 3 weeks, spent every day, every night together. Didn't really know him that well before then, and realized he's a great person, someone that I could trust as a human being. And we also made a pact. As we grow the company, as we do things, it's always going to be split 50-50. It's always going to be shared evenly. And that takes away any misdoubt, mistrust that may happen. So that was a big component of that. The reason why I wanted to move forward with this idea. The other one was I trusted the system. Now, maybe this one was misplaced a little bit. Back then, it was pre-bubble, IPO everywhere. Everyone was doing it. You just had an idea on a napkin, and it would go public. So I trusted that. You know, in college, they don't tell you what reality is all about. And so I trusted that system, and that was a big piece of it. I trusted my mentors. I interned at a venture capital fund, and one of my mentors basically said, don't take the job, go do the company, because 5 years from now, even if you fail, you can come right back into the system, and it's as if you had never left with the experience. And my father, who I thought always wanted me to get a job and always wanted me to go to grad school and all those kind of things. So that's a great idea. Why don't you go do that? Right? So that was a big shift for me. And I was like, wow, these people actually trust me on that. And then lastly, I trusted my capabilities. I knew what I was good at, I thought. I knew what I was bad at, I thought, at the time, and I trusted myself on that. So two things, right? When you're starting a company as an entrepreneur, you could have a great idea, all the standard bullet points in a business plan you might be able to nail, but at the end of the day, you know, what's going to get you committed? And it really has to do with trust. And I didn't really think about that until we started talking about the concept. So as we started the company in 2002 and we moved forward, I realized that when we talk about entrepreneurs, you have to trust me. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. I have a great idea. Invest in me, work with me, supply to me. And so it's a cyclical cycle. You know, you got to start off with a team first, right? Mandeep and I we weren't going to do it all. So we had to figure out how to bring people on. There's a term out there called bootstrap. It's a very fancy way of saying basically we have no money and we have no way of getting money because we don't have enough people to trust us with their money yet. So we're just going to bootstrap this thing and build the credibility and the trust to get to that stage. So, but we had to bring a team on, and we had some colleagues in college and stuff that we brought on that at the time, the only thing that we could give them to trust us is with equity. So equity is what entrepreneurs and startups use to try to help build trust with early employees. The supplier side, it was surprising to us, to me particularly, because you think you pay someone with something, they'd give it to you. But the stuff that we were doing, you know, we needed to work with large companies like AT&T and Siemens and these large organizations. And for them to sell you a small increment of something to test something, you can't even get their attention. And so it takes a lot of trust building with whomever you can get a hold of on the phone, pitch them the idea. I was pitching suppliers like we would pitch an investor, just to help them sell us modems, sell us SIM cards, things like that. Then you get to the customer, and then you try stuff. And we got very lucky. We had early customers that I think because of of Mandeep's vending background, because of just our idea and how much we were willing to work at this thing, let us into their vending machines, gave us keys into their vending machines, let us try different things, and that helped a lot. And then that whole process took a couple of years, and finally we were able to go to investors, and they trusted us. They're like, you bootstrapped it, you made it happen, you were able to develop a value proposition. So they trusted us with some money. So once you have the money, you go right back. Now you got to build a team again. You got to add more people, right? Then you got to go back to more suppliers, maybe more sophisticated suppliers. Again, it's just constantly proving your point. But in the early stages of a startup, it's the entrepreneurs putting their name on the line and pitching constantly to everyone. So the idea is, how do you get out of that? Because I can't scale, right? At some point, people are going to stop believing me. They're going to stop believing Mandeep. They need to believe the thing that we're trying to build is going to be there forever. It's going to be there to support a business. So how do you get them to trust you? And it's all about a lot of promises, which I'll get into in a second. So this is really quick, just that cyclical cycle I was telling you about. You know, we started in 2002. That's me and Mandeep in college. We got some success. We got some early people on our team. That was the original 5 people in the company. We had a value proposition. We raised our first round of capital end of 2005, early 2006. We were able to grow the team, hire more people, get more customers, get more suppliers interested, give us better pricing, things like that. And then really at the end of 2007, we felt like we had really built a really good value proposition because we were talking to investors that were wanting to give us money, right? We believe in it, we get it, without much of a pitch. We have customers now that are signing up, not because I sold them or Mandeep sold them, it's because one of our salespeople went out there and was able to take everything I had learned and Mandeep had learned and the whole organization had learned, and they're able to develop that trust with the client now. And so it is that cyclical cycle through a startup company. But the question is, again, how fast can this go? And I think the next curve that you guys will see, this is very famous, right? And at the end of the day, it came down to what I feel is promises. Trust is earned, right? And trust is earned through delivering on your promises. And so for an entrepreneur, basically, people will trust me based on how many promises I can keep to my team members, to my suppliers, to my investors, to everyone. But a company, it's the same thing. How many promises can a company keep? The company's going to deliver this great new product. It better be there on time. And it better work the way you told me it was going to work, because I was all excited about it. You made me this promise. So the question always comes about, you know, even Mandeep and I, do we even trust our own business model? Where are we on this curve? You never know, right? You really don't know. But I look at it as going back to the original lights. There's 6 million vending machines in the industry. So this curve represents 6 million machines. And I feel like when they talk about the early adopters and the whole chasm concept, really the entrepreneur, the people that start out the company, it's really this early stage where you can't break your promises. You have to build that trust across the spectrum. And then it's our job to build a team, constantly bring the right investors, bring the right client base, bring the right successes, so that the company can now start making promises without us. And that's where I feel like an entrepreneur can be feeling successful in the whole trust concept with an organization. That was basically my analogy on how we applied trust, how it's affected Mandeep and it's affected us. And it's draining. How many promises do you keep delivering on? And as you get bigger, the problems happen. You have scaling issues. You rely more on your team members than yourself. And so the question really boils down to who to trust. And I think the successful companies go through this curve quickly and they figure out how to get the company to trust you. Thanks.